Hello, my name is Charles, and in today's video, we are going to go over why curiosity is a supernatural thing, and why we should be lifelong learners. Why is learning so natural, and why does it feel so rewarding? First, right, if we look at kids, children they love learning, right? They have very few presuppositions or preconceived notions. They're deconstructing their toys. They're playing outside, seeing what happens if they do this and that. They're testing the limits and boundaries of the social rules and systems around them. They just naturally want to figure out what happens. They're curious. And sometimes we imagine that as we get older, and some people will think like, especially with technology and all this information available online, that somehow the quest is up. That there's no longer the search, there's no longer the seeking of truth or any interesting ideas. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. It's the nature of human intelligence, when it doesn't know something to seek, to try to figure it out, to try to find the answer, right? You don't know where the watering hole is. Well, you want to find out. You're like, well, where is it? Let's find out. Because on the other side of that, curiosity may be, what you're looking for. And so you naturally, seek. And so like if we get into adulthood and we're like, I want to continue learning, like, a specific area, right, that may interest us. For me, it's like I love learning about neuroscience. I love learning about the brain, the way different structures work, the way just different conditions are experienced, the way different thought patterns happen, why we experience certain things from like a neurochemical basis. I just find that fascinating. I find it really interesting. And so I love learning about it. And there's nothing like, it's just a pursuit of understanding and figuring things out. And I just want to know. And so finding like particular interests, finding particular things to be curious about can be very, very helpful and feel good. But more so, right, in a general sense, how do we get this curiosity, this sense of almost adventure? Like, what's going to happen? I want to figure it out. And I think it comes in a recognition of our experience, Like if we realize that moment to moment, right, second to second, we don't know what we're going to think next. We don't know what we're going to feel next. We don't know what we're going to intend next, right? You could, when you go to bed at night, most people, right, 99% of people do not know with accuracy what they're going to dream about. It's just going to sort of appear. And same with like, when they wake up in the morning, their first thought in the morning, like if you were held at gunpoint and you were basically told like you're gonna die if you don't tell me exactly what you're gonna think right when you wake up, like the first thought verbatim, most people wouldn't know. Most people are getting shot, they just wouldn't know, because it's the nature of our experience, right? It's the nature of kind of consciousness in this mystery that of it almost being like a pleasant or joyful surprise. And so staying open to that allows for more curiosity as well. And then even further, right, if we recognize the beauty of love, our capacity to love, the beauty of nature, right, all the marvelous things around us. I'll use even more like concrete examples from our experience, right? So like, even though I think love is like the most real thing, the most true thing, when we're eating food, right? If you asked a human being like, how are you eating it? Sorry, my OBS just glitched out. But if you asked a human being as they're eating their morning toast, their avocado toast with their cup of joe, and you're like, excuse me, sir, how are you eating that food? Right? They could tell you like, oh, I'm picking it up and putting it in my mouth and chewing it and swallowing it. And right? And you're like, okay, well, how are you doing that? And you're like, well, I mean, I just like, I kind of move my hand over and pick it up, like move it up and move it to my mouth. And then I'm like, how are you doing that, right? At a certain level, you're going to be like, I don't even know how I'm willing my hand to do it. I don't know how I digest food, even if you're like a molecular biologist and you're understanding like how, on more than 99.9% of people, how, they're digesting their food. You still don't know exactly like when you put that toast in your food, like how exactly are you doing that? And so it's like, wow, there's just this mystery at the root of our experience. Like, how are we doing all of it? And so that's where it's like, if we're able to recognize the mystery of like, this is such a beautiful experience, and we're all doing it, especially if you're doing like pretty all right in life, you're doing pretty well. You're like, if you're being honest, you're like, I don't even know how I'm doing it or how I'm doing, well, but it all just seems to work. It all just seems to happen naturally. And so being open to that mystery, being open to new experiences is what leads to the curiosity, right? Like no one, for example, with thinking, right? No one, people have told you how to think, but no one's told you like like how to produce a thought. Yet all of us, right? Thoughts just appear. We don't even need to be taught like all these natural functionings, like they're all just happening without us knowing how we're doing them. And honestly, if we tried to consciously do it, like if we try to consciously beat our heart, we'd probably forget sometimes. People who have to take meds, for example. Those guys, like they forget their meds sometimes. And that's like, you maybe got to do it like once a day and they forget, It's like if you had to beat your heart all day long, every day at certain rhythms and stuff based on what activities you're doing. We don't know how we're doing it, but we're doing it so well. So if we're just aware of like the mystery of life, we're naturally going to be curious. We're naturally going to be exploring and playing, and just having a beautiful time. And so I hope this helps. I hope this awakens your curiosity at the heart of this mysterious experience of love that, that God is having with us. And I hope you can appreciate it and marvel at it the same way I do. I'm wishing you all the best. Much love and God bless.